it is still about raising, and it can be either way, either man or woman, but it is still about raising men who understand that they are given the responsibility to take care of a woman. The other time we had this conversation in another forum, one of the things that we're talking about is the fact that the home is the bedrock of creating and establishing a strong mental well-being. When we have adults who are not present to ruin people, they eventually become damaged adults. These are the same people in the homes. These are the same people who will not be able to spot or identify when children are having some form of mental distress. Every child deserves to be seen and heard. And one of the things we can do, especially in terms of health, is to start with empowerment and equipping. How do we empower? How do we equip? We start by an awareness with parents. So many parents do not believe that their adolescents can even have mental distress. They'll tell you, I'm giving my child everything. There's money, there's this, there's that. My child should be fine. But then growing up now, it's very hard. Children are faced with social media pressure. They are faced with, the temptations of rejection, cyberbullying. These things alone cause so much mental distress. Child is trying to make the case known. You say, why are you? Is that all? Is that the only thing? There are more problems in the world. And this accumulates, and the only way, with technology now, it's another different ballgame. Sure. When we talk about mental health, the truth is, as social beings, if we have somebody that we can confide in and speak to, somebody that we can trust, that will not be judgmental, it takes away at least half of the problem. But now we are faced with the world where we are talking to computers, we are speaking to screens, we are dwelling more on followers that do not exist. And so at the end of the day, there's a lot of silence. What happens when there's silence? Abuse. What happens when there's silence? To begin to think the only way is for me to escapism. And so among young girls, it is the fact that we must create support lines. One of the things I want to advocate for is, especially in schools, we should have mental health counselors, mental health services, mental health programs, mental health clubs. Let the awareness, let the campaigns be there. Because sometimes they think situation is peculiar to me. They don't even understand that, it's actually a problem that can be tackled, just like Professor Tai was talking about. So can we even have mental health counselors coming? Can we have educators, parents, caregivers, being empowered with this information, looking at the red flags? All of a sudden, you see that somebody has lost appetite, or somebody is being withdrawn. It's not coming out. There's a case in, I think it was University of Abuja. These students did not come out of their room for 1 week. And nobody felt the need to go and find out what was happening. Until they found this child dead. So can we pay attention more to our surroundings and what's happening? Now we're all living, we don't know our neighbors, we don't, nobody cares, we're just in the whole rat race. And just like our mother was talking about earlier on, empathy. Giving people rooms to speak up, having lines, support groups, having lines available where our young girls can call. And trust is very important. That's why I said mental health counseling, because for adolescents especially, trust is a big deal. The fact that they'll be able to speak to you, and sometimes they tell you, don't tell my parents, I don't want them to know. You go back to parents again.
So I'd like to cut you here, babe. Join me in appreciating Dr. with a round of applause. While listening to you, you had spoken about raising men to care for women. And I was surprised the hall was just silent. Nobody appreciated that. But it is a great point I took away from your presentation. Please, let's appreciate that. We need to raise men who care for women. You've spoken around empowerment, having adults to listen, trust building works. We need to practice that. You talked about confidence, support programs, and especially speaking out. I hope this is making sense to someone here. We will soon open the floor for interactions from all interested persons around this conversation. But before we do that, I would like to see what actions are happening around GBV and those key areas of maternal health, adolescent, reproductive, and other frameworks of GBV. Dr. Emma, you are a seasoned social psychiatrist.
Yes.
Awesome. So my question to you will be, what multi-cross-sectorial partnerships are essential to create holistic GBV survival care through ecosystems of health, legal, psychosocial, economic, as well as position mental health as a national development priority? Professor Theo has spoken around this a great deal. So let's have you share your thoughts with us.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. And what you just made me, I'm going to be like a parrot, because I'm going to kind of re-echo what Professor Sheikh has said.